Hello once again, and welcome to Viper Bites, and we are doing a little trip on the waiver wire here, going into week 7. But before we do, just a heads up, we are coming at you right after the Tennessee Titans knocked off the Buffalo Bills to go to 4-2. Buffalo drops to 4-2, and what a roller coaster of emotion this game turned out to be. You had the Titans punch it in with Derrick Henry late in the fourth quarter. Then Isaiah McKenzie returns the kickoff, 101 yards. But wait, there was a holding call forcing the Bills to march all the way back down, get themselves into a good position, and they decide, instead of going for the tie, to go for the win. Josh Allen, 4th and 1, comes up just short. The Titans win. This AFC conference is getting crazier each and every week, and I am glad to be part of this right now, to watch it all with you. That said, if you're watching us right now on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure to hit that like button on the video. Make sure to get in those comments. Let me know what you think of the video, where we can improve. And of course, you got questions. You got waiver wire questions, starts at 6 questions, parenthood questions. I'm here to help. Maybe not the greatest advice, but I'll give you some advice one way or the other. And if you're listening to us on Apple or Spotify, make sure to download, subscribe, rate, and review. Appreciate each and every one of your comments that we get, and I thank you in advance. That said, let's get into this waiver wire talk right now. You're either a contender or you're a pretender right now, and I'm here to help you get yourself back in the playoff race. Or you know what? Maybe you're doing really good right now and you're looking to stay ahead of everyone. The waiver wire is the best place to do that. And first off, let's go to the quarterback position, where we got Tua Tagovailoa and what he's been doing with the Miami Dolphins lately. I think I might have actually pronounced his name close to being right, which would have been our first time ever. Now, he just completed 33 of 47 passes for 329 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Clearly, he's back on the same page as Jalen Waddle. It's almost like there was no time missed for Tua. Jalen Waddle, he's trending upwards right now. Tua, you got quarterbacks right now in Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert. Their goal going on buys here in week 7. Tua is a great bye week filler right now, especially when you consider he's going against a very QB-friendly Atlanta Falcons team. Make sure to get Tua right now. You can punch him into your lineup and not miss a beat. Another quarterback you want to be taking a look at is Carson Wentz. Yes, it is Carson Wentz. I'm talking about Carson Wentz as a viable option at the quarterback position. He has now had 3 consecutive games in which he's had 2 or more touchdown passes. I think he's actually thrown 2 touchdown passes in each of the 3 games. And he's won 2 of those 3 games, with the only loss being to the Baltimore Ravens there on Monday Night Football, in a game that the Colts probably should have won. Next up on the docket, a date with the San Francisco 49ers. Maybe getting pushed a little bit by Trey Lance on the opposite sideline. This could be a fun one. I like Carson Wentz to keep it going on here in this one. Another quarterback we'll look at is Jameis Winston. Yes, Jameis Winston. I am promoting him right now as a waiver wire pickup. He has got the Seattle Seahawks in prime time, and we know the Seahawks are not good against the pass. We just watched Ben Roethlisberger throw the ball, and Ben Roethlisberger is not a good quarterback. Again, we're looking at some positions here that are with the quarterback here. There's a lot of good quarterbacks. There's 6 teams on a bye this week. 3 of them are of the elite caliber. Jameis Winston's a guy you can get in your lineup and hope for the best here. And, he's going to throw that YOLO ball. So let's go with that. And then a guy to keep an eye on the radar here right now is Cam Newton. Yes, I'm talking about Cam Newton. Yes, we're talking about Cam Newton in week 7. There's a chance that he could end up on a team like the Seattle Seahawks going forward. Now, there's been a lot of teams, including the Seahawks, that have kicked the tires of Cam Newton to see if he'd be interested in coming to their team. He is a free agent right now, so just a situation to monitor, especially for your fantasy football rosters, because he's a guy you probably plug in. If he ends up in Seattle, we know Russell Wilson is out until week 11 right now because he's on the IR. This could be a good replacement. We know Geno Smith is not the answer. And of course, as soon as Cam Newton gets a guy like a Tyler Lockett and a guy like DK Metcalf, even though Cam Newton's arm isn't like it would used to be, there's still some viable fantasy performances still sitting in that right shoulder. Now, at the running back position, we got to start off with Major Caldwell. He loves this guy probably more than anyone else. Ramondra Stevenson. Yes. Damian Harris had a solid game against Dallas, but we know he's a little beat up. He's got that chest injury. He's got a rib injury. I think he even has an ankle injury now. Stevenson rushed the ball for 5 times for 23 yards and a score. He also added 3 receptions for another 39 yards. And in the preseason, he was a tackle-breaking machine. And as the season goes on, the war of attrition begins to set in. We know Damian Harris is already nicked up. We know defenses are going to get nicked up. Stevenson is going to be 100% ready to go, fresh as a daisy, as the season keeps on going. Not a whole lot of wear and tear on him right now, and he's ready to punish defenses. Make sure you go out and grab him now before your league mates do. Another player, another running back I'm looking at, I'm targeting right now on the waiver wire. He's only owned in 1% of leagues. 1%. Come on, man. You got to be better than that. It's Jared Patterson. Gibson injury is certainly one to keep an eye on there. You know, Antonio Gibson's got that shin injury there. We'll talk about that a little bit. J.D. Mckissic is back in on everything that you could want out of a running back right now. Gibson left early in that game against the Chiefs. He had 10 carries, 12 touches. He had 44 yards in that period of time. If Mckissic gets that workload, he had 8 carries, 45 yards. He had 8 catches, 65 yards. Even with Gibson in the lineup, Mckissic has a role with this team. We know what that role is with this team. Last year when Gibson missed time, McKissic saw that uptick, but so did Peyton Barber. He sort of saw it because in the opportunity that he was given in that one game off the get-go, he had 12 carries, 3 targets. So he had 15 touches, but he only was able to manufacture 38 yards. And I'm referring to Peyton Barber here. I think Jared Patterson has a better opportunity to create more yards. I think he's a better running back than Peyton Barber. No matter what happens with Gibson, you need to add McKissic. You have to add him. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. There's standalone value in McKissic. He should be on all your teams right now. A lot of people on the waiver wire saying, yeah, you got to add him. You should already have this guy. So obviously if McKiссic's out there, you get him. But make sure you take a look at Jared Patterson too, because I think he's going to have value, especially with Antonio Gibson, if he's to miss any time. Another running back coming off a bye is Michael Carter. He is probably sitting on the waiver in just about every league right now. Now I know the Jets offense is in a situation where you pretty much avoid everyone there, but with these buys starting to come into place right now, like I said, 6 teams are on a bye. Injuries at the running back position are starting to add up. And while he hasn't had the necessary yardage to scream out, get on my roster, put in my starting lineup, he does have back-to-back games in which he has touchdowns. And touchdowns are almost more important than yardage. You know, you get 6 points for a touchdown, you get 1 point every 10 yards. Give me the touchdowns. Give me the back-to-back. And right now, he looks like he's taking over that running back by committee approach in New York. Michael Carter is definitely a guy you need to be targeting. Now, there's going to be a 3-headed monster of waiver wire running backs in Seattle to take a look at. Rashad Penny, he is coming off the IR right now. We know Chris Carson is on the IR right now. And we also know that Alex Collins got dinged up against the Steelers, and we know the running back position is great for fantasy. Now, we also know like Chris Collins, when we talk about him being, or Chris Collins, thanks, I'm thinking about Chris Collins now. Alex Collins, we know he's dealing with that hip injury. Now, Penny is going to be the consensus favorite target on that waiver wire, but DJ Dallas had 4 carries and 6 receptions for 50 yards against the Steelers. Travis Homer, he stepped in with 54 yards on 3 touches. So perhaps both Homer and DJ Dallas have earned themselves an opportunity to get more touches. Rashad Penny, we know what Penny is. We've seen what Penny is over the last few years. It's not it. Penny isn't even worth what his name is right now. He's not even worth a penny when it comes to fantasy football. I'm kind of avoiding him. I want to see what DJ Dallas, I want to see what Travis Homer can do with an opportunity, especially the way this running back position has been working out for the Seattle Seahawks. Now, wide receiver, Rashad Bateman. Get him right now. I've mentioned him on the Vipercast 2 weeks in a row. I said, get ahead of the curve here. While he was still on IR. He is still available in 28% of leagues. People, I can't keep screaming. Go get him now. We know this Ravens offense is clicking. You need to get a portion of it, a part of it, whatever you can. Get involved with this Ravens offense because we know Sammy Watkins is no good. Even Sammy Watkins knows he's not good. Why else would, when Rashad Bateman gets activated, Sammy Watkins suddenly comes down with an injury where he has to go on some kind of out of the lineup type situation and walkabout? He knows that Bateman's the answer for the Ravens. And when you look at what he did in the first game, he had routes on 66% of Lamar Jackson's dropbacks. That is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Rashad Bateman. Get him on your team. Another rookie wide receiver you need to get right now, Amon-Ra St. Brown. He is not rostered nearly enough. If you've listened to the Vipercast, you know he's a guy that we all believe in here. No Terrell Williams, no Quintez Cephas. It's really Hawkinson and St. Brown for Goff to throw the ball to. The targets are there. He's got at least 7 targets in 3 straight games, 65 or more yards in 2 of the last 3. Make sure you're going and targeting Amon-Ra St. Brown. Another wide receiver making his return from the IR is Colts wide receiver T.Y. Hilton, and he's already got the attention of Carson Wentz. Hilton saw 4 targets. He hauled in all 4 of them. He had 80 yards to go with it. In his first game returning to action, he even had a 52-yarder thrown in there. Now, there's a good chance the Colts are going to be without Paris Campbell for a significant period of time, but can you really lose what you never really had? Just something to think about there. Another wide receiver you need to be targeting. He should be on a roster everywhere, but for some reason he's not. If he is available, go get yourself some Henry Ruggs. He is wide receiver 12 when it comes to receiving yards. Wide receiver 12 in receiving yards. Now, I know not all yards are created, but if Ruggs is on your waiver wire, you need to fix that. My guess is that DeAndre Hopkins, Amari Cooper, Adam Thielen, DK Metcalf, Terry McLaurin, Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore are all rostered. And guess what? They all trail Henry Ruggs in receiving yards. Henry Ruggs has 445 receiving yards to date. Like, are you kidding me? Get him on your team. What are you listening to me right now? Go get that waiver wire added in right now. Even though he's got 2 touchdowns, which is probably hurting his fantasy value right now, he's still top 30 in fantasy scoring amongst wide receivers. Now, we mentioned 6 teams on bye. You know it's going to get ugly at the tight end position. So here's a couple guys you got to keep an eye on here. Ricky Seals-Jones, we've been talking about him for a couple weeks, still not rostered everywhere. Why do you want him? He's on the field. He's running routes, 95% of Heineke's dropbacks, and he's getting the targets. 9 versus the Saints 2 weeks ago, 6 more last week against the Chiefs. He's seeing an 18% target share. Ricky Seals-Jones should be in your roster, at least until Thomas comes back. Now, I'm going to give you 3 more real quick because we know that the tight end position is hurting. We know we're on bye weeks. Ross Dwelly, he's there. Evan Ingram and Mo Ellie Cox are guys you need to be taking a look at here. I want to throw you a few more others here so we can keep this under 15 minutes if possible. Some other guys to keep an eye on. Donovan Peoples-Jones. He's a guy you want to target, but with Jarvis Landry coming back and Odell Beckham, he's a guy I may not put a high priority on. Ernest Johnson, Demetric Felton, I don't really know how to feel about this. I think Ernest Johnson is going to be the primary backup to Nick Chubb. I think Demetric Felton is going to be the pass catcher of that group. So I think Felton may have a little bit more value if Chubb is in the lineup. Now, if Chubb does not make it back this week, then Ernest Johnson may have some play, but we've all fallen for this before. We did it last year. I'm not going to fall for it this year. I'm going to avoid this altogether. Kenyon Drake, Tariq Cohen, Marlon Mack are all running backs you need to be keeping your eye on, especially if you have a deeper bench spots there. Make sure you go get those guys. Tariq Cohen is coming off the IR. Looks like the Raiders have a bit of a plan now with Gruden out of there for Kenyon Drake. Marlon Mack is going to be trade bait. He looks like he's probably going to be moving here sooner than later. And the wide receiver position, Darnell Mooney, he found the end zone last week. A guy you want to get on your roster right now before he blows up as soon as Justin Fields can get things going together. Apparently, Allen Robinson isn't quarterback proof because you know that's another show altogether. Marquez Callaway, yes, you probably used all your fob beginning of the season on him. Hopefully, you kept him on your lineup just out of spite, like I did in Scott Fishbowl. He's a guy there, and here's a guy go get now while he's still on IR. Michael Gallup, you got him on IR. It's a bye week for him right now. He's set to return in week 8 from that calf injury. Jump on him now before he becomes too highly owned out there. He is a guy that's going to make a difference down the road. We know this Dallas Cowboys offense is, as they kids say, lit. You know, any part of this Cowboys offense you're going to want a part of. I said at the beginning of the season, they have the ability to have 3 1,000-yard receivers. I still believe that. Maybe Gallup doesn't get there, but if you prorate his numbers, yada, yada, yada. I'm not an arithmetician here, but you want to get him in your lineup today. That said, that's my waiver wire selections for week 7. Glad to join you. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you download, listen to us in audio, and make sure you check out the Dynasty Vipers Vipercast every Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern. Oh, wait, correction. Every Tuesday. We moved to Tuesdays. Every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern. And head over to fantasypoints.com. Enter promo code 21Vipers10. Get 10% off your subscription. You want stats and facts, a one-stop shop for all your fantasy football information? Head to fantasypoints.com. With that said, we'll catch you next time. Take care.